In order to create the safest possible environment for students at Madison College, it's important that each of us understands the law. And though it can seem overwhelming, it's really not that complicated. According to Wisconsin law, anyone having sexual contact or sexual intercourse with another person without consent of that person has committed sexual assault. Anyone touching someone sexually without their consent has committed sexual assault. All instances of sexual assault are illegal in Wisconsin, punishable by fines between $10,000 and $100,000, imprisonment from 9 months up to 60 years, or any combination of fines and imprisonment the court may impose.
There are several other factors which can increase the severity of punishment of the crime committed, such as whether or not any weapons were used, if any injuries were sustained during the crime, or whether or not the crime resulted in a pregnancy for the victim. However, the most important thing for everyone to understand is the concept of consent. Wisconsin state statute, when used in relation to the crime of sexual assault, defines consent as words or overt actions by a person who is competent to give informed consent, indicating a freely given agreement to have sexual intercourse or sexual contact.
A person suffering from a mental illness or defect which impairs his or her capacity to appraise personal conduct, or a person who is unconscious or for any other reason is physically unable to communicate his or her unwillingness to an act, are all legally recognized as unable to give consent.
If a person is mentally or physically incapacitated or impaired to the extent that they cannot understand the sexual situation, there is no consent. This includes impairment due to alcohol or drug consumption and being asleep or unconscious. Most of the time, we think of consent in the negative. For example, she didn't say no or scream or punch or kick. It is important to understand that consent is about saying yes, much more than it is about not hearing no.
There are laws relating to other forms of personal violence, such as domestic violence and stalking. The bottom line is that Wisconsin law is there to help you, and understanding it is a powerful tool in ensuring your personal safety.
It's important to understand that whether or not conduct results in a criminal or civil proceeding in the courts, students, college employees, and third parties at Madison College are also accountable to all college policies and procedures, which operate separately and independently from the criminal justice system. Important policies that directly affect college community members include the Madison College Student Conduct Code and the Madison College policies on discrimination, harassment, sexual misconduct, stalking, and retaliation, which we'll refer to here as the Sexual Misconduct Policy.
Sanctions for students who are found to have violated college policy can be as serious as expulsion from the college. Even if a student is not convicted of a crime in the courts, he or she may be disciplined or expelled by the college. Please become familiar with these college policies and procedures, and always feel free to ask one of us if you have questions.
At Madison College, the Title IX coordination team looks into allegations of sexual misconduct in accordance with the Madison College Sexual Misconduct Policy and Procedures. An important distinction between the criminal and college process is that being convicted of a crime in the courts requires proof beyond a reasonable doubt. In contrast, the college determines whether a college community member has violated the college's sexual misconduct policy by applying the preponderance of the evidence standard. In other words, if evidence supporting the alleged policy violation is more convincing than the evidence in opposition, the college will determine that a policy violation has occurred.
We also want to encourage increased reporting. We want to know what's going on, and we want to be able to help. To encourage reporting, the college has an amnesty policy. This means that any student who reports an incident of sexual misconduct to the college will not be in trouble for any drug or alcohol violation that may be connected to that incident. Our college policy on amnesty is described further in the Sexual Misconduct Policy.
The Madison College Sexual Misconduct Policy is designed to protect you and your educational and employment experience. I encourage you to contact the Dean of Students' office if you experience sexual violence, relationship violence, or stalking, whether it is from a student, faculty member, or staff, and whether it happens on or off campus. Don't be afraid to ask for help or support. Even if you are just wondering if something is serious enough to report or falls under the policy, please reach out to us.